Texas chili, or a bowl of red, is the undisputed king of chilies. It's a dish of slow-cooked chunks of tender beef with chiles, spices, and some unexpected ingredients that'll completely flip your idea of what chili should be. Rumor has it, it was first crafted by the chili queens of San Antonio back in the 1800s, but we'll get to that in a bit. For now, let's fire up those chiles. I personally believe using an assortment of chilies makes for the most delicious chili, and I'm going to be using 6 anchos, 3 guajillos, and 1 chile de arbol. That last one's pretty hot. To remove the seeds, simply pull off the stem, then gently rip open the chile and scrape out all the seeds until all the chiles have been completely seeded. And to make them even more flavorful, we're going to lightly toast them, and here's how you do it. Spread them out in a large cast iron or carbon steel pan, and over medium heat, press them down for a few seconds on each side using a spatula or spoon, totaling maybe 2 to 3 minutes. You'll begin to notice that they will become very aromatic. At this stage, completely cover them with water, making sure they're submerged, and simmer them over low heat for about 30 minutes, which is enough time to soften them up before we use them in the sauce. But first, while they're reconstituting, let's start actually making the chili. I believe bacon and cooking everything in the rendered fat is the way to go. So thickly julienne 5 strips of thick cut bacon, regular cut is also fine, then in a large 2-gallon Dutch oven pot over medium heat. I'm going to add in the bacon and saute it for about 2 to 3 minutes to start to get the ball rolling on lightly browning up the lardons and rendering out the fat. Let's turn the heat down to low and occasionally stir it for 7 to 8 more minutes or until it's crispy. In the meantime, let's talk beef, shall we? I've got a big old 5-pound chuck roast, but brisket or strip roast are also excellent cuts to use. I personally like the meat in my chili to be a bit bigger, so all I'm looking to do is to cut this into 1-inch cubes. And I usually trim any of that stringier like fat along the way because it doesn't really cook down all that well. Once everything is cut up, I add it to a sheet tray and then generously season it with about 4 teaspoons of coarse salt and 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of freshly cracked pepper. Now, using your hands or a spatula, mix everything together to ensure all sides of the beef are completely seasoned up. Grab the beef and let's bring it back over to the cooktop and see how the bacon is doing. Yep, looking dang crispy brown and perfect with plenty of rendered fat. Time to cook the beef, but first let's set the bacon lardons to the side in a bowl. Yeah, I ate a few. Quality control. And there's a good amount of fat left over in the pot, so I'm going to strain off about half of it, which is great because I love cooking and baking with it. Return it to the burner over high heat. Next, we're going to sear the beef in 2 batches so we can get some good Maillard onto the surface of all of the meat, which is just going to add to the overall flavor of the chili. Let the beef cubes sit untouched for 3 to 4 minutes, and then flip everything over and cook for an additional 3 to 4 minutes until it's well browned, just like this. Set it to the side and sear off the next batch. While the second batch is cooking, knock out a little prep by small dicing 2 large yellow onions. Sweets or whites will also work. Then I'm going to smash and finely mince 8 cloves of garlic. Yeah, it's good in there. Prep is finished. Let's go check out the beef, and it's already smelling amazing in here. Beef searing in bacon fat, go figure. Set the beef to the side and then let's add in the onions to the pot. Gently season with a little salt, and then we're going to saute for 5 minutes until lightly browned like this. Then turn down the heat to low and occasionally stir it for 10 minutes. But before we add in everything, let's go check on those chiles, and they are perfectly soft and ready for the next step. Let's drain them of the water as it can actually be pretty bitter. Then just give them a quick rinse under cold water. Let's transfer it over to a blender, and then I'm going to add in 2 chipotles in about 3 tablespoons of its adobo sauce. Then pour in 2 cups of good beef stock. I'm going to blend it until it's perfectly smooth like this. We're just about ready to use it, but first, let's go have a look at the onions. They look excellent. Stir in the garlic and cook it just until fragrant, which only takes about 30 to 45 seconds. And then let's keep adding in some more flavor with 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. We're going to pince it for about 3 to 4 minutes, which will deepen the umami flavor and add a touch of acidity. All good things for chili. Frequently stir it during that time until it turns a rust-like color, like this. Then I'm going to pour in about 1/4 of the blended chili mixture, and I'm just going to cook it for 2 to 3 more minutes to concentrate and deepen the flavors even more. Yep, this is going to be dang tasty. It's now go time. Add back in the beef. And for a little Texas tradition, I'm making and pouring in 1 cup of good strong coffee. Let's add in half the crispy bacon lardons, then 1 bottle of pilsner beer. And yeah, I'm using Shinerbach. This is Texas chili. But honestly, any good pilsner will work, or you could even go the stout route. You be the judge. Next, pouring in 2 cups of good beef stock, 8 ounces of tomato puree, and yes, plenty of Texas chili recipes that use a little tomato, so don't sweat me. Finally, let's pour in the remaining chili sauce and give the leftovers a little swish with water and pour it in there as well. Now, give it a season of coarse salt and crank the heat up to high because we want to bring it to a boil. And no, we're not putting any beans in this, and Texans consider beans a Yankee addition from anything north of the Red River, so keep them out. And once we're boiling, that means we're just about there. But while we're at it, let's go for the gold, my friends. Since we're already in this deep, in a medium-sized saute pan, I'm adding in 4 to 5 allspice berries, 1 cinnamon stick, 5 to 6 cloves, 2 teaspoons of coriander seeds, and finally 3 tablespoons of cumin seeds. I'm going to make these more aromatic and more flavorful by toasting them over medium heat for about 3 to 4 minutes while constantly moving them around in the pan. All of these spices combined will add some subtle sweetness, earthy, warm, and complex flavors that will greatly enhance the chili. I mean, just get a few wafts of it. Ridiculous. Transfer it over to a spice grinder or mortar and pestle and grind away until smooth, just like this. And while I'm here, I'm just going to toss in 2 tablespoons of oregano and pulse it to combine. Now let's add all this spicy and herb goodness right to our chili. Give it a stir and give it a taste. Yeah, it is good already. Oh my gosh. Now, turn the heat to low and add on a lid and simmer it for 2 to 3 hours, but don't go far because after 1 hour or so, come back and give it a taste to see if there are any more spices that need to be added for your liking. And with about 30 minutes left in the cooking, leave the lid off to reduce it down a bit more to concentrate the flavors. And oh yeah, about those chili queens. The most legit story of Texas chili comes from San Antonio during the mid-1800s by some business ladies who sold a dish of beef and chilies, which coined them the name the Chili Queens. It immediately caught on and spread through Texas during cattle drives, and it became a staple on chuck wagons, and it's been popular ever since, no matter the variation of it. Alright, back to our chili. The beef is perfectly cooked. It should be extremely tender, but also not fall apart. It should still hold its shape, like this. I'm going to thicken it up a bit, so the classic procedure for this is to pour about 1 to 1.5 cups of the liquid in a separate bowl. And then I'm going to add in 1/3 cup of masa harina. This is going to be our thickening agent. Whisk it and you'll notice it will immediately thicken up. Let's add it right to the chili, and then to balance out some of the flavors, I'm going to finish it with about 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, and for a little Texas chili secret, 1 ounce of bittersweet chocolate. This adds depth of flavor, richness, and balances some of the acidity from the tomatoes and chilies. And if you're looking to get real insider with it, use about a 1/4 block of an abuelita. You'll get some serious street cred with this. You think this chili is going to be good now? Just wait until tomorrow. It will be incredible. And it is just about finished up, but first let's plate it up. Add several scoops of this chili to a bowl, and for the toppings, you could use cotija cheese, cilantro, green onions, but for me, I like cheddar, diced onions, jalapenos, and some crispy bacon. And if you're wondering, the Chili Queens did originally say it's only appropriate to serve beans on the side of Texas chili, and golly is this good. And hey, It's even better with the side of cornbread. And the smells? Worth every penny of the flight to Texas. I mean, it is next level insane. Now, if you're a chili lover, you need to see how I turned some leftover smoked brisket into an absolute game changer. It is amazing. Check out the recipe video, and I'll catch you over there. Oh my God. It's like, oh, it's so flavorful.